Forget maths and English, how we teach sex in schools is the focus of educators everywhere after recent efforts by UK politicians to introduce sex education lessons to students as young as 7.
Yeah, back home, and just as bad, a national survey of Australian secondary school students found what we're teaching our kids is irrelevant and outdated. So is it time we put the school system under the spotlight? Well, for more on this, we're joined by sexologist Dr. Nikki Goldstein, joining us live from our LA studio. Nikki, good morning. Should sex education be introduced at a younger age? What are your thoughts on that?
I think we need to stop focusing on a specific age that sex education needs to be starting and look at it that it's something that starts from the beginning. And this starts with, telling children what their body parts are called and what should be private and what shouldn't be private. And I think we do need to look to the UK and see that they have decreased the age from 11 to 7. And one of the reasons for that being is that now the typical age in the UK for a kid to be accessing pornography is 13. So we can't stop the things that they're going to find on the internet, but the one thing we can do to help them is give them education at a younger age, so when they do come across things that they shouldn't, they can maybe make sense of it, or hopefully have a parent or a teacher they can go to and ask the questions.
Okay, so there was this survey of Australian students. Around half of them didn't think they were relevant. Are teachers out of touch?
If they are out of touch, I don't think it's the teacher's fault. There was a survey of teachers and 1/5 of them said that they received a lack of training, they seemed a lack of supervision and things like that, and that was the reason that they weren't actually teaching the subjects that they should be. So I think we really need to look at supporting our teachers and give them a new model. They're still teaching a fear-based model of sex education, which is to scare kids. You might get pregnant, you might get STIs. And I think also we need to look at the fact that kids are now turning to the internet. 43% of children said that they're getting their sex education online. Can teachers keep up with that? So maybe it's either supporting the teachers or bringing in somebody else to help educate the students, because how much can we expect them to do when they don't necessarily have the official training?
Yeah. Hey, Nikki, do we know what kids are actually being taught? Is this sort of content sort of regulated?
Well, it's very hard to work out what they're actually being taught, but the interesting thing is we can look at what they're not being taught. So in 2013, there was a national study that looked at the fact that there was nearly no information given to children who were, or should I say young adults, who were gay or lesbian. So other things were also missing out, like certain STIs, sexual communication, consequences of relationships. So really the problem is that there's this variation between schools, and it really is up to the interpretation of the school and the teacher as to what is taught. And that can lead into abstinence-only sex programs being taught as a replacement to sex education.
Okay. Nikki, are you aware of what actually is on the curriculum and what is not on the curriculum? I know at our school it's an option. It's outsourced and you go along one night and mums and dads go along with their children, but you do have to pay an extra fee for that. So do you actually know, is sex education actually part of the curriculum or not?
Well, we've actually looked at this new curriculum that there was a draft out last year. And it was very interesting to find that people were saying it was a dreadful attempt. Other sexual health advocates were saying that there was a lot of information that's being missed out. So this is coming as a replacement to all the individual state laws.
Okay.
So things that were missing from there were STIs, HIV and homophobic bullying. And this is the problem, is that there really is this open area when it comes to sex ed and what's being taught in the schools. And there isn't enough specific information being given as to what should be taught to students.
All right, lots more debate to come on this one. Nikki, thanks for your time out of LA. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Nikki.
Thanks for having me.